Yes, good morning, my friends. Welcome back to episode number 93. I hope you guys are all doing well. I'm a little bit sick today, all right? If you can hear it on my voice, you understand where it's coming from. Horrendous feeling today. Anyways, I'm gonna be here for you guys, no matter what. Day in, day out, the wins, the losses. I'm gonna be here showing up my face, at least for you guys, unless it's absolutely not possible, okay? So, let's get to work. Hope you guys are all doing well. It's a new week. We have a lot of things to cover. And man, gold reversed. Hit my freaking stop on a Friday. It's always the worst on a Friday, of course, but it's part of the game. But we have some new insights. We're going to share that. And yeah, it's time to fight back and have an amazing trading week with you guys. So let's get the party started there. Let me see who we have with us in the chat. And then we go from there. Ooh. Let me see here. Matteo, good to see you, my friend. Matt, how are you doing? Diamond, good to see you. Matt, Derek. Georgelina, how are you? Brad, good to see you, my friend. Volks, Connor. Matt, yes, sir. Liv, hey, good afternoon, good evening. Leon, good to see you. Arlo, good to see you. Tamer, my friend, good to see you. And yeah, man, let's get the party started. Let's not waste our time. And let's just get further. What is gold doing? Why is gold bouncing to the upside? And yeah, I do have to talk about this setup already that I had to take. I had to take it. I'll tell you why. I can tell you why. But we'll go over everything and we'll make sure that everything is fully ready to rock and roll. Right? Welcome back, my friends. Sorry if my voice sounds awful. I had a terrible night. Terrible evening. Felt horrible. We're gonna be here anyways, okay? I'm gonna do my absolute best for you to be here to give you my analysis for the session here. And we're gonna do a little recap, of course, from Friday, because I think that's important as well here. This is the most transparent channel you will ever visit, ever, okay? And that's why you're here on a regular basis. So we have to make it work. Good to see you all here, Charles. Hope you're doing well here. We'll talk about the forward profile settings in a second, all right? In the meantime, I have to go over a couple layers here. Our account got hit quite hard. Let me see. Let me go back here to the chart or to my MetaTrader 5 here, you can actually see that, okay, we had these two back-to-back losses here yesterday. I made a video about this on my Telegram as well here to share actually what happened on a Friday and how I was kind of committed to those shorts. And the problem actually was that, of course, we were waiting so long for that freaking setup, okay? And then I left the house and I was caught up in that bias and I got triggered into the trade. And then I got out, got back in and hit my stop loss right there. So made a video about this. Also did a little bit of a analysis after that though, about what I expected. So I already made a little bit of that back immediately by just being patient and waiting for the right confirmation, okay? And today, before the stream, unfortunately, I had to step into a trade. Well, not unfortunately for me, because I'm actually happy that I got into a setup right there. I will share that setup, but I will also share exactly what I will be looking at now at this current moment, because there are definitely some more opportunities for another setup later today, or this session, I would say, okay? So looking forward to go over it right there already, okay? If you want to watch exactly what happened on a Friday, we'll go over this. I literally just hit another trade though. Look at that right now. As you guys can see, I hit ATP on my account. So actually, to be really honest with you guys, what I lost on a Friday, okay, let me go here. Where's my account? Where's my account? Yes. There we go. What I lost on a Friday, I pretty much already made back. At this current moment right here, you can see this right there, another $2,000 just now got hit. Okay, minus 1,400, minus 2,160, now 890 and 2,182. So we're pretty much back where we came from. Okay, we're pretty much back where we came from. But this will be a very important lesson as well to talk about right now, exactly why it's so important to be very committed to, you know, a certain reversal as well, and accept that when reversals are coming into play, that you have to adapt to those reversals in order to immediately be as adaptable as possible in order to not be too biased to a certain direction forever, because I don't think that's a good thing, okay? So what happened on a Friday? Let's go over that first. Then let's talk about this setup, and then let's talk about exactly what we're looking for next, because gold is a very interesting level right now at the moment. And also the dollar, look at the dollar. The dollar is still at major support at this current moment as well right there. Do you see that? The dollar is still at that higher time frame support that for now at least, we can't seem to break yet, okay? So we do have to talk about that and have to take that in consideration as well when looking and talking about the dollar, okay? I do think it's extremely important to pay attention to that in the first place. But let's talk about what happened here, okay, before we move further to where we are right now and what we're gonna do next, okay? So number one, first things first, right? Market started to sell off kind of aggressively right here, and we actually were talking about that rejection on the daily, remember? And we had that sweep of the highs, and we said, yo, this is gonna be a fake out right there. And price came down all the way, and it actually broke, from what I was looking at, major structure right there. And I was really looking at this next zone to be hit, the proper retracement into the next zone for a bounce. But what started to happen was, and I could have seen it coming, by the way, and I have to correct myself a little bit here, because I could have seen it coming after the stream, okay? I could have seen this coming, and I'll tell you why. All right, so what happened was, of course, you took out the weekly lows and it reversed. Now, that happens sometimes it does not happen, sometimes it just continues to drop lower, right? And it gets to a next zone. So that is not by definition actually the most important reason why I could see that reversal coming, yet still decide somehow to enter the trade and made a mistake right there. But that is the following. Let me actually just share this with you guys. You had the open right there, yeah? We used the volume profile and we start to mark it out from the left to the right, okay? And this was the Asian session pretty much, right? And we were waiting for that pullback for a setup. And then price pretty much came around there, I think, until it came back. And this is where it went wrong, okay? This is where things went wrong. Because what actually happened was the following. We actually did the opposite. So initially at the 33, we talked about it, right, guys? We talked about the 33. We were still at the value area high, okay? So it could have been still, from that moment onwards, a rejection back towards the point of control, right? Back towards the downside, at least test the lower band of that range to see if it could hold for a bounce or if it could then break, right, for the manipulation, pretty much, right? So it was still a possibility at that time that I was like, okay, there is potential. So got into the trade, saw price going up and down, but then the London Open came. And I was like, you know what? The London Open is there. It's better to get out and wait for the London to open first. So I made that point in the Telegram group. I said, yo, it's better to wait, right, for that open, because if I wouldn't wait for the open, we might be manipulated, etc. So I waited for the open around an hour or something like 30 minutes or something like that. I was like, you know, this is getting rejected. This is looking weaker. Let me just try to get into that short. And then we broke out of the value area of the day. And from there, sky was the limit. So the lesson was, when we closed above the value area, needed to cut the trade immediately and actually started to look for longs instead and see this as an invalidation, okay? An invalidation setup for the rest of the session. So the London and the New York session, pretty much, to target those highs, okay? So the conclusion is, guys, and I think this is why you guys are here, right? We're keeping things fully transparent on this channel. And also that means that I have to acknowledge my mistakes as well, right? I'm not 100% perfect. I do make mistakes. We have been making profits. We are profitable, but we still make those messed up mistakes sometimes, which got to put our account a little bit back. Unfortunately, that's just part of the game. And you will witness this firsthand, because most of this is, of course, done live on this channel right there, okay? So then, price came down. It came back up. It broke structure. At this current moment right there, I knew price around there would have been a bit overextended, so I decided to short it from there. Why? Let's take this setup. Okay, let's take this range that we have. We tapped into the point of control, okay? We tapped into the point of control right there, and I saw that rejection multiple times happening, roughly speaking. I saw that rejection happening right there. So that was the moment when I decided to enter a short at the, let's see, 4391, okay, 4391. So that's pretty much the top right there, okay, to target the lows and to get out pretty much at the lows and then immediately transfer over back into a long earlier, okay, when the market opened up, so pre-stream. And the reason why I decided to enter a long here, so I went short at the top here, because we were just overextended, man. You can't go up forever. Price was overextended. You could see the volume coming down. And that's the following. Why did we enter the long right there? Let me know in the chat. Why was this a long? Why was this a fantastic long setup right here? Early morning, right at the open. So not Asian session right now, but before the Asian session actually. Right at the open. Let me know in the chat if you guys can see it right there. But this is one of the big ones, man. This is one of the ones with the highest probability. If you watch this stream on a regular basis, then this is a setup that you will probably not be able to miss out on, okay? This is a setup that you should be able to take without me also anyways, because this is something that is just something we talk about so many times over, okay? You take the swing low to swing high, or you take the previous day in this case, you have an aggressive push up, you wait for a pullback, and you look at where the least amount of volume has been traded. Where has the least amount of volume been traded? Look at that. You can probably already see it, right? Right here in between this area, all right? Low volume node right there is how we call it. You already know it. And if price steps into a low volume node, you do not want to go short. You don't want to go short inside of a low volume node. I wanted to exit my short and only look for long setups right around there, okay? So price tapped into that. It reacted. You could see that from that moment onwards, we have pretty much what we call a, how do you call that? The volume profile from the day already when we tapped into the zone. The point of control was there. And the only thing that you had to do for longs was close above the point of control again of the current day since the open, okay? And then target the highs right there, okay? That is the setup, okay? So yes, I lost some money, but you can see how quickly, if you are adaptable and you're able to just change your buys quickly and understand that you got it validated, how quickly it is, even when you make mistakes, to make your money back almost immediately. That is the lesson, okay? You can be emotional. You need to cut it. You need to cut your trades short. And I should have cut it even earlier. But you need to be adaptable and immediately get into those setups that make sense again. And follow the exact rules in order for you to make your money back. Okay? So we're back to square one. I think right now at the moment, we are still looking for those continuation plays. But I want to tell you something right now in a second here. Let me remove this right now. Let me remove this right now. Okay? Important lesson, I think, to hold on to right now is the fact that we can use the volume profile of the open of today, okay? So if you look at the open, and we are taking that all the way now to where we are at the current price, then you can see now that we have, if you guys can see it clearly, a pretty solid, okay, value area we're now creating, okay? Now that area aligns perfectly with what we call the previous daily point of control, okay? So how do you do that? Number one, if you are completely new to the volume profile, what you can do right now at the moment here is the following. You can go to settings right here, okay? You go to events, so normally you add on the symbol, you go to events. Then you click on session breaks, okay? Right there, you click on session breaks, and then these beautiful lines pop up on your chart, okay? And these lines show you exactly each individual trading day, all right? So you have, for example, the Monday right here. Okay, Monday, the Tuesday, the Wednesday, the Thursday, and the Friday right there. And now it's already Monday, okay? So you have those days right now fully marked. Now you can use the volume profile, and the first thing that you can do is to mark out the volume profile, which I already did, from the Friday, okay? So mark out the volume profile from the Friday, which is right here, okay? From the first line to the second line. And then let me know what you see right there, okay? And one level immediately stands out, and that is the red line. Because what is the red line? Let me know in the chat. This is a level that we have to mark out right around there, okay? Sorry, man, my voice today is absolutely fucked. Sorry for that. Yes, the red line is what we call the point of control, of course, okay? So the point of control is the point of control from yesterday, and that means that we're now trading above the point of control of yesterday. So we're setting in a bottom wick, and we broke above the previous daily point of control right there, okay? Now let's take that one, and let's mark out that level. Now at the same time, look at the value area of the current day. So open up the volume profile again, and then mark it out from the open of today, okay? Right now, all the way to the current price, okay? And what do we see when we open up the volume profile of today, all the way to the current price? You can kind of already see that, right? We have an area, what we call the value area of today, after we bounced from previous daily value area, okay? So the value area of the current day, we tapped into the point of control, and we broke above this. Now this long, around the low volume node was actually super clear. We tapped into an area. This is one of my favorite setups right here. The reason why this is one of my favorite setups is because so many people are shorting when price breaks down, okay? And they're thinking that this is the top, and the price continues to drop lower, and then it gets absorbed by what we call an area of inefficiency or a low volume node right there, okay? Now price breaks back above, and then it leaves the value area high of the current day, okay? So now we are above the point of control, and we're above the value area high. So that means that any retracement that we would make right now, in my opinion, could still lead us towards potentially some higher time frame resistance a little bit further to the upside right there. So when we took our long there and we exited right there, the goal is to take and look for the retracement to get into a new long in the pullback and to look for the continuation a little bit further back up here, preferably towards, and now we're going to mark it out right here. What is the target that we're going to look for? Okay, let me show you right here. We're going to look for, I need to remove this for a second. Yes, sir. We're going to look for a value area high of a larger level right? Predominantly something like the value area high of the previous week, okay? The value high of the previous week, we're trading above the previous week point of control, something around the value high of the previous week, which pretty much means that we'll probably will try to trade back into that daily supply zone right there, okay? Daily supply zone is still in place. We haven't broken it yet. So that is, again, to target another level here and pretty much look for that continuation up here. So I hope we can find any pullback, okay, for a new long position around the point of control for a continuation to target at least the 4425, something like that, 4425, until we're back inside of that daily supply zone. And then from there onwards, we have to wait and see again what will happen, okay? Why is it not fully sure that gold will just continue to push up after that and will break that supply zone? The main reason why is because the dollar is still holding flat. We're not breaking down. We're holding major support right now at the moment. The dollar is still holding. It doesn't want to break. Every time we tap into this higher time frame support, we bounce, etc., etc. Okay? So it's still very important to pay attention to what the dollar does, because as long as the dollar is holding up at that support here, when gold is in supply or in resistance, we haven't really gotten the confirmation yet that we want. Okay, the dollar needs to break down in order for gold to break out, etc. For now, the dollar is holding up way too well, okay, in my opinion. Way too well still at this current moment in time. All right, so let's mark out the value area of today. Let's keep that in mind, and let's see what happens when we retrace. And let's also see if we could look for the continuation play still towards the upside for another setup. And if we win that trade, okay, we already are back where we came from. Plus, we will probably already be in profit above how we left on a Friday. So let's see if we can do that. Okay, let's see if we can, pretty much make sure that this will happen, and then we'll go from there. Okay, guys? Looking forward to that, okay? So what will be the probably area where I would long? The 86-ish. The 86 is something I would be looking for, okay? If we can get there. Otherwise, we have to go back to the 40. What is it? The 426, something like that. Okay? Something like that, in order for us to say, okay, that is something that we are looking for right now at the moment. Okay? Something that we're looking for is that. Pretty strong rejection. Yeah, to the upside already. Pretty strong if you ask me. Yeah, I think so. Otherwise, it's possible for you to share that trade outside the Telegram so that we don't miss the trade too. Pretty much 99% of all the trades I take are done live. Okay, are all done live. But, you know, after Friday and then seeing that opportunity before the stream started, I was like, shit, man, do I now need to really wait for the stream to start and then take the trade? You know, potentially missing out on it, or, you know, should I just take it? And I couldn't resist. I couldn't resist. Sorry for that. Okay, but yeah, I had to do what I had to do. Do you understand? But yeah, we'll make sure that everything is shared anyways. Okay, you have to respect your boy. All right, you have to respect your boy. Lorenzo, what about the low volume note of the swing? When bullish happened like a week ago, when price was 480, price came back to low volume note from that big swing on Friday, where I was looking for sells. You mean 4080? Let me know which swing you actually mean. Sorry. You mean from here to, I don't know which swing you're talking about. You mean from this one to this one, or from this one to this one, or the big swing? Let me know. Let me know. Is the low volume note in the previous week relevant? It is relevant. However, keep in mind that in this case, the trend has been pushing higher. After this invalidation here, price came back, it's retraced, it got in so many sellers at the bottom into this area. And now we broke above previous daily point of control, where yesterday on a Friday, actually the most volume was traded. You would say that this big move is where the most volume was traded, but actually, according to the point of control, it happened right above here. And we're still trading above that. So trying to go short now is a bit too risky. And I don't think it's worth shorting at this current moment. So it's either waiting for the pullback and go long, or waiting for higher time frame resistance to be tapped into, and then pretty much go from there. Okay. So yeah, that's kind of the area that we're looking for. Where the stop loss will pretty much be. Depends on how we trade. So if we wait for a confirmation, right, and the confirmation is like an area where sellers step in and fill, like we did here today. Look at that. Actually, a beautiful example. Okay, on the lower time frame, a lot of sellers stepped in at the bottom, and the price broke above the VWAP, and it continued to go higher. But if we would wait for a pullback, right, and we would wait for new entry in the value area, then I do think that your stop loss will be determined according to where sellers stepped in the most aggressively. Okay? Well, that makes sense right there. Lolly says from the big swing on Wednesday, 29th of July to the highest point on August 12th. Okay. Oh, you're talking about the big swing. So 29th of July. Ooh, wow. This one to this one. Yeah, price tapped into that low volume note here. You're right. You are completely correct. Yeah, you are completely correct. You see, there were a lot of discrepancies there on a Friday, where I could just see that price was not where price was not locked in. Okay, where I was not locked into the setups that I was looking for. Eventually, my thought process was to break down. But you're right. You're absolutely completely correct about this idea. Okay. The good part is though that when it happened. It's not even a mistake to be wrong on the wrong side of the market and not see this sometimes, which is fine. It's the management. Okay, it is truly the management, because even after price already came back above that, there were already a lot of reasons to cut the trade earlier for a minimum loss, minimum, in worst case scenario. But yeah, well shared, my friend. I do agree with you. I actually completely agree with you what you're saying here. So yeah. That was actually a low volume note from the complete swing from the bottom to the top. And you can see how powerful it actually is eventually. So you were right. Totally. Okay. Okay, so many reasons to cut the short trade from last week. Yeah, we can do it one more time, but I already shared this before. But it's actually kind of easy to watch. What you want to do is, if price, let's say it's here, right? And let's say you enter a short here, and price then creates a closure above. Okay, the value area high of the current day, like it did right there. It closed above it. Okay, around there. Then you actually know already by default that you need to cut the trade, because you're trading above the value area of the current day. The most volume was actually traded here. So yeah, it was fine initially if you were getting rejected from the value area and you would break back down to the point of control right there. But if you close above this, that should have been actually an immediate cut. Yeah. How are you? Yes. Huh? What happened? With what? With the bike? Yeah. Accident. It was a long story. I'll talk about it later. Yeah. See you. Okay. Thank you. Lorenzo, can you explain why the logic of the price to continue dropping was invalidated from 4367? Yeah, that's a good point, right? And this is exactly why we went long there. We went long at 4375, targeting the 4400. Okay, and the main reason why was because the fact that if you have a big swing, okay, that like that, this is the previous daily swing, and you take the volume profile from the previous day, and you have a low volume node. You see that? These low volume nodes right there, area where low volume has been traded, okay? Right there, low volume area, okay? Price came back into this. And a lot of people started selling inside of this, okay? And then the moment price actually broke and closed back above the point of control of the current day, right there, then you know that buyers are officially actually in control. Okay, so sellers were trying to enter the market aggressively at the bottom. You can actually see this in the order flow as well here. Look at all that selling, okay, during the open right there. A lot of selling happening, okay? And then the sellers got absorbed, price broke back above it, and then the moment you broke above the point of control of the current day, right, of the opening till the price, that was actually the confirmation to go long, right there. GG Lorenzo, I highly believe you entered at the low of the week. This could be another wave higher. Right now, any pullback we're looking for long though. Any pullback we're seeing is kind of looking for longs. Okay, we're gonna keep looking at the value area right now at the moment and watch what happens. To see if the valuation will continue to drive us into the value area. And then in the value area, we can either decide to look for longs, right? And a continuation long. Anytime we pull back into the value area of the day, we can kind of look for that long reaction. So anything inside of that area is where we can look for longs right there, okay? How much are you down on your account? Well, actually, we're pretty much on square even right now. Yeah, we're pretty much back where we came from. We recovered immediately. Yeah. Unfortunate sometimes to make these silly mistakes, but it's part of the game. And yeah, also I make mistakes, definitely. And sometimes you have to accept it, but there is one thing I'm proud of in this trading space, and that is to become very adaptable very quickly. So accept, move on, set up, follow the rules, win, and you're back where you came from. Can you share your volume profile settings? Yes, sir. Row size 128, value area 70. Okay. Value area 70. Why does the Fibonacci does not help much? I think the Fibonacci can work actually very well. I think the Fibonacci has potential. Okay, a lot of potential actually. But what I think about Fibonacci is that you need to use it in conjunction with something else if you want to use it. I think it can help you tremendously with understanding the other layers. Kind of like an additional layer, right? To see if there is an alignment. Yeah. What is the next major resistance? Next major resistance is going to be still the 12-hour supply zone. Yes, sorry, the daily supply zone. We have not been able to take it out. We are still trying to push into it. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Now the intraday structure looks very strong, especially after Friday, right? After that breakout. So it looks very strong, but it's still there. Right, it's still there, and the dollar still has that major support there. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but this is that clear supply demand zone that was created there on the dollar. Okay, you can actually see how important this area is right there. Okay, and how we actually tapped into this major zone here on the dollar multiple times, and we can't seem to break it either. Okay. So I think this is where the real shift will happen. If we can manage to take this out on both sides, I think this is where the real shift will come from. Okay. But the intraday looks so strong. So freaking strong. So yeah. That's for sure. For now, it's actually super easy and actually super clear. That's a good part. Because we're trading above the value area right now of the current day. Okay. So you can just mark out the open to where we are now. You're trading above the point of control of yesterday already and the previous daily value area high. So you have all those levels there. Okay. So if price does decide to pull back and you are super bullish today, then you're going to have these levels here that are going to hold support. And you can pretty much target that supply, okay? So let's see if we could make one retracement after this whole swing right now, from bottom to the top, into the value area, and then look for long continuations pretty much. So let's see if that could occur. That would be nice. 97 already. 97. Nothing better than elevator music on a Monday morning. $97.3. Folks, I've been studying your LTA comps as book, proper good value in there. Thank you. Appreciate it, man. If you guys are new and you want to learn about the volume profile and you want to learn about what I do, you can download my book right here for free. It's a lot of information though. So if you have some time on your hands, you can actually read it. Okay. You can actually look at the settings as well. So you have all the settings correctly. You can look at the different ways to draw it, what it means, how it works, why we use it as our point of interest, and how we then trade with it. It gives you more of a general understanding of how we use it, okay? It's not the gold hybrid trading system that we talk about in the elite group, right? But it is something to give you a foundation. So if you are a beginner, I think this is for you a good start, is to get the hang of the volume profile. Because if you've never used the volume profile before, then you know that you need to kind of learn a new skill, right? It's different. It's a different style of trading, understanding the volume profile from any other way, okay? You're much less obsessed with candles and much more focused on the volume, specific levels around the volume. So I will send a link with you guys here in the chat, so you can actually download the book right there, okay? It's a free book. It's 300 pages though. It's a lot of information. And it took a year to write, pretty much a year. What is the difference with the elite system? The elite system is the complete package of the order flow included, okay? It's the order flow. It's a combination of the volume profile with order flow, okay? With the valuation, with all the layers that we use in order to understand where we stand, right? It's an actual system. It's actually meant that by the end of the system, they need to know exactly where to look for setups from, how to look for entries, how to manage the trade, right? And at the end of the program, they get a list of like all the specific exact playbook setups we're looking for, okay? And that's gonna be like a cheat sheet after like a 6-week program of going through all the foundational layers of order flow and the combination of everything. So it turns into a system, a process, a trading process, okay? But regardless, the volume profile and the beginning of that is a journey of which your new journey begins, okay? This is your new journey. If you are sick and tired of failing and not understanding why the market moves the way it works, this thing is the start of your new journey, okay? This is how it begins. It begins with understanding this one, all right? The volume profile and how to utilize it properly, in what context, etc. And that already should help you a lot, I think, and you set a good foundation for yourself. Another thing from yesterday was, by the way, that the moment we started to come and break back above here, the delta was so green. It was so freaking bullish. No way to short it, except for here. And the reason why I showed that it's from there is because of the fact that when the volume exceeds, okay, and this is such a big lesson for me personally all the time when I look at the market and I look from my volume perspective. Also, right here below, you can see the numbers of contracts traded. We started to creep up all day long, right after London session, until we hit what we call the 5,000 contracts right there, okay? And the moment we hit the 5,000 contracts, we topped out. That was the moment we topped out right there, okay? Yeah, on a Friday. The moment I knew the 5K was hit and we started to struggle, I knew that was the top for the day. So that's why I took a I would say not scalp, but yeah, I would say scalp, right? From 91 to like 45, from 91 to like 45, pretty much, right there. Yeah. So the thing is, I actually exited this position at the highs here, okay? Then I entered at 75. You know, I think it's just roughly speaking around 200 something pips. The reason why I exited the trade was so I could re-enter with you guys. That was the reason, okay? So I could wait for the pullback to look for a re-entry. That was the reason why I exited the trade. And so I was like, target the highs, then wait for the pullback, look for re-entry. Well, look at that. It's still a stream account, you know. This account is still a stream account. So I was like, okay, let me exit. Now we're live. Now we can enter together. Even though that would totally make sense, by the way, that setup. Like breakout, take out the highs, pull back, and then look for long immediately. So it would have made total sense, but yeah. We got to stream an hour earlier. Yes, I think we will now, because you can see that in the last couple of days, market has been moving a lot earlier, before the Asian session, actually. Before the Asian session. Yeah, you can see it. Usually the market already has moved before the actual Asian session opened up. Look at that. This was a good example on a Friday. Then here, okay, here we had quite a good move actually. But you could see already, right? How before the session opens up that the initiation of the move is already set, pretty much, right? So I think we have to adjust, and also next session tomorrow, stream earlier, before the Asian session, not at the Asian session, a little bit earlier, a little bit before that. Okay, I think we have to, according to the way the market is moving right now. Are you okay after the earthquake in your region? I haven't noticed an earthquake, by the way. I think it happened far, far away. Indonesia is super big, right? It's like a huge country. But yeah, it was pretty bad. I heard about it too. So I appreciate that. What about your son's chess match? Yeah, he was actually doing very well. Thank you for that, man. Appreciate that. Okay. Point of control is at 86. And the very high is at 97. What is the best method to recover a loss, sir? The best method, I think we all experience losses. So the best method is just to follow up. And I think that the worst mistakes come from like messing up. So not being able to close your trade, for example. Like that's a big no-go, right? Not being able to close it in order to get into another opportunity. So if you are stuck in a position, right, and you are in drawdown and you don't want to close your trade, it's not necessarily that it's like really bad that you're in drawdown, because that's already bad actually. But the worst part is actually the opportunity cost of missing out on good setups after that. So yeah, the lesson is to cut trades short, all right? And it's not always easy. Not always easy. But the opportunity cost matters, because you're going to find a lot of opportunity you could have taken, knowing, you know, that you can't take because you're already stuck in a position. That's the biggest problem. Yeah. And you know it's going up. You can sense it's going up. You know it doesn't want to come down anymore. You know, it's like, it's horrible. But it is what it is. But, you know, just stick to your system. Stick to your process. It sounds boring, but that's always the way I bounce back. Is to just trust my process and just continuing. And accepting that you can't be right all the time, and also accepting that you make mistakes. Because you're still a human being. You're not a robot. But not cutting losses is the worst thing possible, because yeah, it's you ruin so much doing that, right? Because if you can't cut losses, then the problem will be that you only need one mistake, and that's it, right? One mistake and you're cooked. So if you can't cut that one mistake out of your life and expecting from yourself that you will never make any mistakes, yeah, that's a lost situation, right? That's a lost situation. So it was better to cut it and get into a new setup and take advantage of that and make it back and continue from there. And the one thing that I could definitely conclude to you guys, and really conclude to you guys, is that like your account will not move linear, okay? Your account will not move linear. Like your account will not move like this. Let's say you have $1,000, okay? And you work towards $10,000, all right? Your account will not move like this, all right? It will not move like that, really. What will happen is this: you will have an amazing start, maybe. You have a little bit of a like a long type of like moment where you go up, you miss an opportunity. Then you take a trade that's a loss. So you actually missed out on a win that you should have taken, that you saw, but you didn't take. But then you had a losing trade, right? And you're like, ah, shit. So you did everything correctly, you saw it, but you didn't execute upon it. And then you drop, okay? So now you're at whatever. You're a little bit lower, okay? And then boom, you get into a good cycle again and you shoot up, right? And then you make like one massive fuck up. You pull back again. You work your way. You have a good cycle again. Now you're higher, right? And then you start to stagnate for a while. And then you go down and then you move higher, right? And you work your way towards this number. This is the way my account usually grows, okay? It's rarely just purely linear, okay? Now, sometimes I am in like really like prolonged like winning streaks and stuff, but then I'm also in like prolonged periods where I consolidate, where I'm constantly hovering around, you know, the same price, for example, okay? And it's not from like not seeing the setups, but it's all from management. So like seeing the setup but not executing it, or missing out on it, or being too patient with it, or not being, you know, too patient. And then because you were too patient, then the next setup after you're gonna be too aggressive and you start to stagnate. So you get out of that loop and you go up again, right? So it is not linear, okay? I rarely see guys growing their accounts linearly. And usually it works like that, right? You go up, you go down, you stay there for a while, you go up again. So it just shows that you can't put so much pressure on yourself that you can allow yourself to make mistakes, right? And I think this is where good traders are shown. If you can make mistakes and allow yourself to make mistakes, but still end up demanding green, for example, or neutral, for example. Okay, we're pulling back now, my friends. So that's good. We're pulling back. We're making a little bit of a move back to the VWAP. Okay, so we have a couple levels in between here. We have the point of control. We have to watch that. Overall, again, we have a pretty clean sweep. So, sorry guys, my voice is absolutely gone. Okay, I had a horrible night, absolutely horrible. But if you take the fine profile right now from the current day, you can actually see right now that we're holding up quite well. You see, and the point of control has shifted. You see that? The point of control right now of the current day has completely shifted. Okay, and this is very important to talk about because this implies that right now at the moment, okay, most of the volume that was initially traded at the bottom now has shifted to the top. Do you see that? It has shifted to the top. So for that reason, bigger pullbacks might occur. Okay? So this is why we have to be really aware right now of the reaction that we're seeing here. Because the fact that the point of control has shifted, okay? That means that the volume distribution of today has shifted to the upside. Okay, and we're now trading below that, right? So initially, we were looking for like that long continuation to the very high for a push up. But you can already see now how much of that resistance is met right now there with the point of control being at the top right there. You see most of the volume now is actually coming from the top right there, okay? So I think that's a very important confirmation that we have to be aware of. Okay, the fact that right now our kind of the point of control has shifted to the upside according to what we're seeing right here. If you go to the order flow, you look at the hourly, look at this huge red wick. Let me see if I can make this bigger, by the way. There we go. You have this huge red wick. You see that? With a lot of trap buyers as well at the top. Okay? Do you see that? A lot of trap buyers are sitting right now at the top right here at this current moment. So you can actually see that we're seeing a little bit of a reversal right now where a lot of buyers are stuck at their position at the top. Okay? You can actually kind of see this right here. With a decent amount of volume, a negative and bearish candle, and the volume of today has been shifting to the upside right now. So that means that, let's say you would go long here, right? You would face immediate resistance at this area right there. So if for longs, it's much safer from my perspective to wait for price to pull back down a little bit more and to see if it could pull back a little bit deeper to check if you could then try to get into a setup to test that area. Because I think that shorting here is still a little bit too tricky. Right, but you can see that we're setting up for like a reversal already, according to what you guys can see here. So a very aggressive trade would be waiting for this hourly to close, waiting for the next candle, the next hourly open. So waiting for this hourly candle to close. Look at this huge rejection right now on the hourly, right? Waiting for that hourly to close. Wait for the next top wick to be created. And then sell off and try to go a little bit deeper back towards at least the point of control or lower. But that is, that depends on the hourly closure. Interesting how you can shift that aggressively already. So initially, right, we're looking for buys on the pullback, but this is again such an important confirmation telling us right now that, hey, something has happened here, right? The amount of volume that has been traded here is pretty crazy. You go to the lower time frame, you can actually see that there are a lot of buyers now, okay, stuck in their position at the moment, and a lot more volume came in at the top around this area. A lot more today here than there, okay? So yeah, I'm very curious to see what happens if you pull back, if we start to reject and then create a double top. So longs are kind of looking a bit less appealing now. It did look amazing in the morning here. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a bit aggressive, but you can definitely see that the market is trying to... we do react now from the very high. We are reacting from it. But yeah, the combination of the higher time frame right now is going to be very important. I think after this hourly closure, we know exactly where we what we want to do here. And if you want to set in a limit at the top. Or aggressively enter at the top. In the end, we're still in resistance, right? We're still in higher time frame resistance. We know that we are in like that 4-hour zone. We still have a lot of resistance to work with. It's not that we don't have any resistance here on the higher time frame. It's also not that the dollar is not in support on the higher time frame, right? The dollar is in that higher time frame support as well. So we have all that, that macro is still kind of against us at the moment. So even though gold looks very strong intraday, we're still dealing with a lot of resistance here on the 4-hour as well. You can see it. So it was worth looking for longs initially, but if the volume shifts to the upside, it becomes harder and harder to take them. So yeah, this might shift the chart today. Let's see. But it depends on the hourly closure. And that's not that far away. It's only 15 minutes from now. And I think it will determine a lot. Lone Wolf 20 says, I'm in sales from the top. All right. Aaron says, very interested in what the dollar does today or this week. I completely agree, my friend. Yeah, I completely agree. What will the dollar do this week? We open bearish. But the question is, for how long? For how long? Current day will keep shifting. Yes, correct. Possible 27 now. Yeah, I'm waiting for the hourly closure. If we can close in 15 minutes, we have an hourly candle and we can see if these buyers are actually stuck at the top right there. I think it will determine a lot because that aligns perfectly with the point of control. And because we're in 4-hour resistance already, we are in 4-hour resistance right now at the moment. Okay. We can't neglect that 4-hour candle. I think that we have, that there is still reason for the price to come down. Would have been different if the volume was shifted differently. If most of the volume was traded at the bottom and the value area was still below. Let's see on futures where we are. So we had the previous daily, of course, right there. We had the low volume node. On futures, it's for some reason always so much cleaner, right? So much cleaner. But look at that. Low volume node. Then we take the profile of the day. from open till close. Yeah, we're already shifting it as well. So yeah, that's why I didn't with long. It just says dollar will decide everything. Personally, I think the buy is skewed for another drop into the 98 region. Okay. Are you looking for sells? Are you looking for buys? Now, at this moment, we kind of shifted our session buys a little bit from buys to sells. We were in, I was in buys here. Now we're waiting for, I was waiting for the pullback for the higher low. But then I realized that the volume was so much more accurate here, aggressive here, that the point of control shifted to the top. And that's when longing does not make that much sense anymore. And you see why. Because we would have been in drawdown now. If you would have taken that trade. Yeah, look at that. We have a low volume node sitting right here, right now. I think this is an important level to mention, to mark out right here. Right? If you make any pullback inside of this area, I think it's definitely worth paying attention to. And see if you can actually flip it, right? Actually flip it. We have around 10 minutes left, 9 minutes left for the hourly candle to close. Yeah, so I see some potential, definitely. Can you show your VAR profile settings? Yes. There you go, my friend. There we go. 128.70. And in the style, you want to mark out the values right there. It will be very useful later on. If you use this, it will be very helpful to look at the low volume notes. Yeah, probably same resistance right there. A lot of resistance right now for gold here. Keep in mind, the hourly closure will happen in 5 minutes. The new hourly candle will open up. And then it will set probably in some wick. So let's see if we can incorporate that. Anyways, a lot of selling here. Also break it below the VWAP. Did you switch the buys? Yes. We did. We did switch the buys right now at the moment because initially it was pretty bullish from here. We knew this. The low volume node to break out. We took out the highs. If the volume profile would have given us the indication that most of the volume was traded at the bottom and we would pull back, we would simply test the high, like the value area, and we look for the continuation. And it's actually what we did for the whole time, right? We actually marked out the volume profile here. And we pretty much kept it from the open till around, I think it was around the breakout here. You could see, right? The value area was still at the bottom. You see that? It was still at the bottom and nothing else. And then, you know, we came up. Okay, it was still at the bottom. It came up a bit more, but it's still fine because we were still trading above it, right? And we were looking for the retracement into it for a new long. But now, at some point, when we started to come up further, we started to see this. You see that? The volume shifted to the upside. Most of the volume was traded there, no longer at the bottom, right? And that means it will just put so much more selling pressure on gold right now from the top. Now, if you then zoom out and you're like, okay, does it make sense? Why? Well, actually it does when you look at the higher time frame, right? You can see that you're in that higher time frame zone. We're in that rejection already there as well. So it's not really a surprise, for example, right? That we are looking to now shift that momentum a little bit here. Okay, so I'm still kind of watching it very, very carefully, but overall I can say that the buy definitely has shifted a bit now. Yeah. Is there a reason why I don't use the anchored volume profile? I mean, I'm just used to this, the session, right? You can keep it up like this too. Like it's true. You can just do it this way. From like the open of today. Personal preference, I guess. All right, 1 minute left for the hourly candle to close. Okay, this is gonna make a difference. First hourly candle with some decent volume. 7,000 contracts. Most of the volume at the top. So we will find resistance there. Probably around this area. Now we don't want to sell now, no. We want to wait for the pullback after the hourly candle has closed. Setting in like a top wick, and then okay, hourly closure. Bad closure. Look at the hourly candle right now at the moment here. Okay. Oh, sorry for that. Look at the hourly candle. Looks pretty nasty. Strong rejection there. Inside of this area. Yeah, so the next leg is, okay, what happens now? Right here, okay? 5 minute volume profile. We will have the low volume node, I think. I think this is one of the most important layers right now at the moment. And it will be one of the most important levels. What could be an interesting level? I think, yeah, valuation of 15 is still overvalued. Yeah, I think something like that. Okay. Something around this area. At least the point of control, but preferably the value area low. Let's see. Let's see if we can do something like this. Yeah, actually, to be honest, on futures it's so much cleaner again. The way the low volume nodes are displayed on futures, it's always so much cleaner. So much cleaner. Yeah, so I really prefer to follow that as much as I can. Yeah, VWAP rejection as well here, hourly candle. Um, 4-hour resistance. 4-hour resistance. Last thing is dollar. Yeah, dollar is yeah, sitting at the bottom here. I think it's worth it. See if we can at least get somewhere around the very area. I hope we can pull back though towards that low volume node right here. Or the point of control on futures, right? One of those levels. Let me set an alert just to be sure in case we get there, that we at least have some sort of reaction or an alert that we are there on the futures chart. Still a lot of resistance already. Yeah, that low volume node is already holding here, guys. It's already holding. We're already in another zone. It doesn't look strong here. It doesn't look strong. We're below the VWAP too. At this current moment here on the session VWAP on the order flow here in the exit charts as well. This is an area where sellers do control as well here. It might reject from here. You have to really watch this level very, very carefully right now. Yeah, POC shifted as well. You guys are right. Yeah, I think we should give it. I think I'm giving it a shot around the POC here. Okay. Also on futures, you can see there is just so much resistance happening right there. I'm gonna give it a shot, guys, and see if you could break here. At least to this area. Let's see if we can break this level now and just continue to drive to at least the POC below from yesterday, 86. Yeah, let's see if we can break it. We need to break that low here. May look at the future charts right now at the moment. We just shifted to POC. We're now in that low volume node right there. We couldn't break above that. I could have waited for the next zone to be hit, but it can easily reject around this level right now as well. As you guys can see already, right? It could easily just reject here and sell off and tap into the previous range. Yeah, the song is not gonna help us, right? That's true. That's true. Yeah, we're still ranging here. Overall, if you look at the low volume node, it's holding up very well. Also here the VWAP and that major zone here. Yeah. VWAP holds price. Actually, the VWAP on the order flow is what I look at. It's the sessions VWAP of the order flow right there. That's for me the confirmation. Seems to be much more efficient than the one that I have on TradingView. I don't know why. No idea why. Yeah, on the 15-minute, also in the regular spot chart here, you can see that the point of control is holding that now. It's holding price down here. You kind of see that we're kind of rejecting at it with this 15-minute. So I'm looking at for the next logical target of like the 86. Okay. And then from there, we'll see if price can follow through or not. I think it's possible to get there, but let's see. We're kind of bouncing here. You're hovering around. Yeah, if we can close below this low here, I think it's going to flush quickly. But we have to close below it. Look at the order flow. Yeah, pretty flat at the moment. Pretty freaking flat. All right, we do have the closure, and we have a closure below it. It was actually very important that we did that. It was actually very important that we did that. Dollar is kind of reacting again. All right, the dollar, keep in mind, dollar is more or less at support right now. So I am taking that in account. We're more or less at that area of support right here. So I'm just waiting for the dollar to react. You see that? To react a little bit. Or at least try to. But gold is pretty much flat. Doesn't really want to go anywhere. Just flip the 15-minute. Not a big fan of it right now, guys. To be honest. But yeah, let's see. 4 hour is not looking strong. 1 hour is not looking strong. 15-minute is pretty stable. But we're below the point of control. We have that resistance from the VWAP right there. I mean, it's pretty neutral right there. So as long as we don't close above this, I think it's pretty all right, but you might be ranging for a little bit more. Yeah, this doesn't seem to go anywhere, guys. Or is it? BH says long already happened on Tokyo session, just waiting for London session before entering another trade. My session buy is still bullish. Since the dollar is still weak. Yeah, but keep in mind, dollar now is actually at support, right? The dollar is reaching some support at the moment. Okay. Just so you know, we're kind of like hovering around here now. It doesn't look strong, I have to admit. I have to agree with you, but higher time frame, man. We're still at major support now. And I haven't seen a proper breakdown yet. I haven't broken the lows either. Yeah. Okay, I'm out, guys. Sorry. I'm on a break even here. I don't like it. It's just too forced. It feels too forced. There's too much buying and selling happening on both sides here. We're too flat. Okay. This should have been the follow through in my opinion already. Looking at the chart right here, this also should have been the rejection. We have triple wicks right now on the 15. 1, 2, and 3. I expected at least after the last closure to follow through now. So yeah, this is not a setup that I'm like, wow, extremely interesting at the moment. Okay. It could definitely go down. I'm not saying it will not, and it will be funny for it to drop suddenly right now. That would be super ironic. That would be hilarious. But yeah, the overall setup was not as clean as anymore after a couple minutes. Yeah, was not the same reaction. This could wiggle for a while here. Look at the 1 minute as well. Unless it starts to go now, that would be hilarious. How much do you withdraw each month from the average on the 20K? We're actually building this account right now from nothing on the streams. So we're actually building it from nothing to something, and from something to even more. Yeah. And there we go. Oh. Well, that's exactly what I was waiting for. Yeah, we already removed our short long buys right now already a while ago. The reason why is just because the fact that if the volume distribution goes up, so for example, let me just show this example. I think it's super important that if you look at the volume distribution, so we take the volume profile of the day, the start of the day, 6 p.m. EST, and we take it towards the breakout, right? So we have like a trade. You can see that the most volume all was traded inside of this box. You see that? So from that moment onwards, the moment we started to break above and we broke structure, the pullback made sense for like a long, right? But then there's more volume traded at the top here. So we extend the volume profile to where we are now, to the top, or right there. And then the volume distribution got taken up there. So it completely shifts the whole value area of today. You see that? And that just leads us towards much deeper pullback. So that's why we're not looking at longs anymore. And we're interested in shorts. But you can see how much absorption there is still right here, right? You can see it right now at the moment. Even now, we're pulling back all the way. Look around the 5 minute. You can see how we're pulling back all the way, right? Immediately already flipping this candle bullish. And breaking back in that same smaller range that we have here. So there is still a lot of absorption between buyers and sellers right now taking place. And we're really undecisive at this current moment. So I would, I'm staying out of this for now and just see how price goes, because it's just a bit too unclear on the lower time frame as well here. On both the 50 minute and the The 5 minute is where you can see that there is just not a lot of clarity now, right? At this moment in time. Because there are both signals. There are signals on the higher time frame and the lower time frame. But it could not break further. And on the 50 minute, it's pretty clear that we are unable to do so. So yeah, let's just be patient here. We try to get into a short. Yeah, pretty much from the same level right now. Yeah, I mean, it was worth to give it a shot, right? Because this could have been an easy kind of like flush down for us, where we just, where we broke below and we could have easily just quickly flushed towards the point of control of the previous day. And then we had like 100 pips and then we could decide what we want to do. Do we want to go and break even? Or do we want to take profits? But it kept ranging pretty much. So you could see the absorption was taking place, and it's usually not a good sign when you see something like that, right? Especially with the closure below the point of control. You don't really want to stay and hover around it for too long. Let's see if the dollar is reacting to any way, shape or form. Dollar. No, dollar is non-responsive. For now. Non-responsive for now. Yeah. Let's keep a close eye on that futures chart as well here. Predominantly around this zone right here. If you do manage to push up higher. So yeah, closing the short was definitely a good call. It just seems like if you look around on the order flow right now, that we're compressed on both sides pretty much, because a lot of sellers, a lot of buyers stepped in at the top here. Hope you guys can see that. The candle closed bearish, right? So all those buyers that stepped in at the top here are now stuck in their trade, are now trapped. Okay, but at the same time, if you go on the lower time frame and you look on the 15 minute, You see that there are a lot of people trying to sell now, but they're also failing. They're also not getting anywhere. You see that? So we're kind of in between. An area where sellers and buyers are both trying to win, but both failing. Both failing pretty much. That's why we went short initially, because if sellers would have won around this area here, it would have just been an easy short. It was actually a good short entry, in my opinion, just to try. But if we manage to reclaim that level and we push back above it, or we break out here, let's say we actually do break out, yeah, it will be very interesting to see what happens at the top. Ooh, a lot of volume. Look at that. What happened here? Ah, okay. 30-minute closure. Kind of open without a bottom wick. Even though this looks like buys right now, I'm still more into the shorts here, to be honest. The main reason is just because of what we're seeing here. The knowing that these hourly participants from the previous hour are all stuck at the top right now. The volume has definitely shifted further to the downside. We still have a low volume node sitting there and there. There is still definitely a lot of resistance that we have to face right now. So yeah, it's good that we got out of shorts though for now. And then we closed it, but we're definitely not there yet. Most important zone I would say now is actually a little bit higher. If we could get there. Jarek says, no FOMO, please. Patience. Nice. Good job, Jarek, my friend. Good job, my friend. Proud of you, huh? Yeah, you see another rejection. Yeah, it just does not wanna go for sure. It's definitely not looking strong. Georgelina, I have to tell you, regardless of the results, I'm so thankful for your time and knowledge. It felt like jumping from strategy to strategy until I got here. I've learned so much here. Thank you, Georgelina. I appreciate you. Are you looking for longs? Are you looking for shorts? Currently, definitely more into shorts right now at the moment. I mean, longs were actually done early this morning, right? The longs were already kind of taken here from the bottom to the top. You know, entry at like 75 all the way down to like 97. Okay, so longs were kind of already taken. Then I was like, okay, let me wait for the pullback. Maybe look for longs again, but then the shift happened, okay? Most of the volume that was actually traded below moved to the upside, causing all that selling pressure to come into the market. And you could see that all those buyers that got here trapped in their position as well here. So we kind of moved from longs to short buys right now. So no more long buys actually, only shorts now. So we're just looking for the right entry for shorts. We tried to enter right here. We couldn't really get anywhere for like 15-20 minutes. We were in our position, hovering around our entry. And now we're still pretty much there where we initially shorted from. We're pretty much at that same level. So yeah, we can kind of conclude that we're still there. But we do kind of expect the pullback into the point of control of yesterday, which is at the 86. But it's pretty flat right now. Look at the 5, it's pretty flat, it's pretty flat. Yeah. It's holding around the VWAP there on the charts. But below the point of control. The 4 hour is actually still holding up quite well here. The 4 hour on the futures chart is actually looking a bit more neutral. But that's why we got rejected here as well. You look at the 4 hour time frame. If the huge supply is on there. And the dollar is finally reacting a little bit. What is your single trigger for confirming this distribution of breakout? I think around here right now, shorting here is a bit too tricky. I think it's possible that we could still drop, but it's not something I'm willing to really look at right now. I already tried before. Could still come down to the 86. If that's the case, it is what it is. But what I would look at right now is just simply pretty much look at what happens around this area one more time. That low volume node a little bit higher, and the top zone where most of the buyers actually got trapped today. So that is pretty much sitting at this area, which is right here. Okay, you see all that green from the previous hourly candle? That is pretty much the level that I'm looking for. But yeah, buys is definitely more short than long right now. Okay, we kind of shifted from longs to shorts today, which doesn't always happen on the stream. Sometimes on the streams we are, you know, pretty biased into that one direction. And today we actually shifted our bias. So yeah. Did we finally do it? Did we finally close below? What do you think about 4380? 4380. What do you think about that? I don't know. I don't see anything there. You became more cautious than before. Yeah, it goes and comes. It comes in waves, I must say. It comes in waves. So yeah, we did enter the short. We stayed in it for like 20 minutes, but it comes in waves. It depends on the market. But I mean, obviously, let's look at this right here. Let's keep it honest right now, right? Look at this. Look at the structure right now. Look at this price action at the moment. I would not call this cautious. I would call this proper risk management. Especially right here. Look at that. Are you more bullish or bearish on gold in the long term? I mean, in the long term, I'm super bullish. I think that gold is preparing for a huge leg up. I think that this weekly level, this weekly zone that we have created here is super important. This is the first official weekly demand zone we have created since the drop. Okay? Since the drop off in March, all right? Or in January. This is the first weekly demand zone we've ever created right now at the moment. After holding and respecting the 4,000 right there, right? So of course I'm super bullish in the long term on gold. I think that this could be a, I actually believe that we could be bottoming. I really think so, okay? Very soon. But I think that right now it's about the higher low, right? Are we gonna push down first before actually making a move like that, right? That's like the question that we're asking ourselves right now at the moment. And look at the higher time from the daily, you can actually see very clearly that we have a lot more resistance now here to deal with. This whole zone here is a major area of resistance and we can't seem to break it for now, okay? We are in it already for a long time. And you can actually see how we're getting rejected at it. And with such a strong breakout, such a strong expansion, a pullback seems to be super reliable, okay? So there's nothing nothing that tells me yet that we like now could break out and continue to go higher. But I think on the lower, on the higher time frame, it's pretty good what's happening right now, okay? So the only question that we're asking ourselves now, is this gonna be, right, the pullback? Are we still gonna experience a deeper pullback on gold, right, into structure that gives us an indication of a push up, a push higher? Or are we just gonna hover around, create a much larger range this week right now at the moment, okay, before we actually decide to either break out or do whatever, okay? But there need to be some sort of reason, I think, for gold to make that move right now, okay? So I'm not fully into like, oh, this is the bottom and we're just gonna break out and push up higher. I'm definitely not there yet. I'm definitely still on the, yeah, more on the bearish side right now in the short term, short, medium term, according to the higher time frame supply, the dollar, okay? Dollar is not looking like super weak. It's not that the dollar is like like extremely weak right now. Look at the dollar. Yeah, it's not looking strong, but look at where we are. We're pretty much in a range. We're pretty much flat. We haven't made any decision yet. But for us right now, it's not really important, right? We can go long, we can go short. What we're looking right now is how is the volume distributed? And how do we combine the higher time frame with the lower time frame? And in this case, you could see that, you know, today, this was super clear longs, super easy longs, right? We knew this. Highs were taken out, etc. Low volume node of the previous day. And a huge absorption. So that was very clear. But now you can see that we are... the price action is kind of getting a bit rough right now. Yeah. Overall, I must say I really like the way the volume is distributed to the downside. So I think it's more or less bearish. And no more long pullback setups at least. No, we're looking for longs now. Jimmy, my friend, how are you doing? I'm good, man. How are you? Good to see you, man. I think a lot of you guys are also in the... If we were still in our shorts, sorry, if we would still be in our shorts from now, right? We entered at what level? 95, right? We are now at 93, so you would probably still be exactly where we came from. But that would be an hour later, 40 or 50 minutes later. We would still be at our entry. So yeah. Can I explain why in these days Asian session is very nice? I mean, the Asian session has been extremely nice. I think a lot of people moved over to Asia. I don't know what's going on, but I think ever since Trump came along with the tweets and everything, and the Iran posts, New York became a bit more unstable, I would say. Correct? Matter of fact, I heard a story. I'm not sure if it's true, but I think it's true. And what I heard was that Trump or his team decides to sell, okay, those alerts, those tweets. That means that if you would sign up for it, you would get access to his notifications 1 minute before everyone else does. And it costs $100,000 a month. Okay? The president of the United States will give you the signals of his tweets 1 minute before the rest gets it for $100K a month. The president of the United States, I repeat, has a subscription model to give you alerts and insights in his tweets 1 minute before the rest does. Welcome to 2026, my friends. That's why people trade Asia. Do you understand? Listen, we're living in the most degenerate times ever, man. You have to play the game. You have to play along. Yeah, we follow our system. We don't get distracted. Yes. We keep building our account. We keep making money. We're doing our thing. We're following our processes. We are very strict. We do it, and we do it over time. And we prove that we can. Okay. And we prove that you can bounce back and forget about everything else. Focus on what you need to focus on today, on this session. And try to do the best you can. Hey Lorenzo, this is nonsense, this thing from Trump. Now this is real. This is real. No, this is not nonsense. Okay? This is real. This is not a joke. Okay? It is real. I mean, he did get sued. Okay? He did get sued for it. Trump sued over 100,000 a month early access offer. Okay? Trump Media and Technology Group offers a high-price subscription service called Truth API on Truth Social, charging up to $100,000 per month or $60,000 per month on a 3-year commitment to provide financial firms and trading outfits milliseconds early direct access to market-moving posts by President Donald Trump. Okay? So he sells it to institutional traders and bankers. No. This is the real shit. This is real. Anyways, the structure itself has been moving down here. I hope you understand why we shifted from longs to shorts, okay? So when we were coming up aggressively, we're looking for the pullback for longs. The moment the volume profile shifted and the point of control shifted, it showed us that buyers were no longer kind of in control, that sellers were stepping in. The moment we looked for that break below and the retracement, we never got that retracement. So we never got our lower high, right? And we started to develop a range here. Now, with that range, the point of control moved down and suppressing gold even more right now at the moment. But at the same time, do you really want to be involved in this type of price action on the 5-minute? When you look at the chart like this here with all those wicks, tops, bottoms, no real movements, just a bunch of consolidation here. I don't really think so, okay? That's why we entered before, because we knew that if we entered before, that we could give it a try, okay? Because that range was not yet that clear. But for now, you can definitely see that with all that price action on top and bottom, you know, that suppression here and just that range that we're forming. We would have probably be at our entry now. We will be in slight profit, but not much. And it would have not been that worth it. Okay. Getting into shorts here. Too many spikes on both sides, both on the long side and on the short side. Okay. Even though I'm more bearish than bullish. That's for sure. Yeah, we don't see this that often, by the way, that this actually happens, right? Where we open up the volume profile and where we kind of shifted from the open here to where price was at right there. And all the way until there, the value area was actually pretty clean, right? It was pretty much right there. The value area high was here. The point of control is at the bottom and the value low was there. Right? That's a situation where you look for longs. Okay, because you move back into the value area. But the moment this moved from being right here to being there, not there, sorry, to being there, that was the moment that you could see the P shape. We call it a P shape profile, where you could see it's kind of like a P, you see? Where most of the volume suddenly became traded here and you broke below that, right? And if you then break below that, the most resistance will be there. And that's why gold was unable to just break back up because of that resistance right there that was created. And then you can actually see that right now, that while that was happening, the volume is moving down, but we're still trading below that. So that's why no longs anymore. That's why we stopped looking at pullback longs. Longs initially made sense, but we stopped looking at it. And shorts right now are the more interesting ones. Now, if you zoom out here, you can kind of understand why you're getting rejected there, right? It's not that it's like a zone that you didn't expect a reaction from or whatever. But let the lower time frame prove the reversal, okay? Not the higher time frame only. Let the lower time frame confirm what happens on the higher time frame. Because there are too many times where I was like, you know, and this is one of the big lessons that I experienced so many times when trading and when learning and trying to become better. It's like, I'm like before I was like, oh, we're in daily supply, so only shorts, right? Only shorts. But then I realized you can be in daily supply for a week. You know what I mean? And there are so many long opportunities still. So let the lower time frame really prove that reversals are getting set, right? One thing is for sure, gold does not want to drop. Okay, it doesn't want to drop further. Like a bigger pullback needs to be created. Okay, a bigger pullback needs to be created. I think that gold is not gonna be like pushing right now. I don't see gold pushing down lower anymore. Even though I'm more short biased for the day after what happened here. You can definitely see that gold is tired. It's exhausted, okay? Is it possible to be long again later? Of course, right? If the volume profile, if the most volume, like keep in mind, this is the daily profile, so it keeps developing, right? And the ASIN session is just one session. So if most of the volume starts to be traded at the bottom again, and you break out, yeah, there is a chance we're going to try to test the highs at least, right? But for now, sellers are still in control. Pretty neutral day today, I must say. Pretty neutral in general. But the session went from bullish to bearish, but no direction still, because you can see the market is very indecisive. Lorenzo, I'm in shorts from the 4402. Would you suggest trailing at 99? No, I think that's good. I think that's good, my friend. Yeah, the 15-minute has not the power to break out right now. Okay, we are still below the VWAP here on the order flow chart. It does not have the power to break out. The hourly candle has just closed again. I was kind of waiting for that to happen to see, okay, what happened in the next hourly candle. But what you can actually see is that the hourly candle is pretty much neutral, right? We're pretty much flat. Foreign profile is still there. Still in rejection. We tap into this right now. The candle opened bullish. Let's see what the dollar is doing right now. If the dollar is holding up. It is holding up. Are you coming to Australia? Maybe one day. I haven't been in Australia for at least 10 years. I think 10 years ago was the last time I went to Australia. 12 years? Would you look at the VWAP once? Yes. Well, the VWAP is right here. Okay. I know on TradingView it's lower. Correct? Oh, it's right there as well. It's same level. Do you know Raya Banks? Yes. I mean, of course. A lot of people are along here. Let me know what the chat is doing now. I'm curious to the chat. Show me, chat. What are you guys up to? What are you guys up to right now? Because I can see the mixed sentiment here. Longs and shorters in the chat. Very curious. Georgina waiting. Emirates shorts, waiting to short, waiting to short. Long. Waiting too long. Wow. I've never seen a mixed chat like that before. Not like this. Haven't seen it before. Okay, I love shorts though now. I haven't seen it before. Not like that. Yeah. Okay. To be honest, guys, I am at this moment, after the short that we took here, okay, that we tried to took, I mean, it took a long early before the stream, and then a short here. After that short, I'm like the fact that we're still there, okay, at our entry. Imagine if I was still in the setup, okay, then we would have been in the trade for more than 1 hour at our entry. Pretty much at our entry. So I'm getting a bit more neutral right now. Like, obviously, the fact that we're below the point of control, below the VWAP, is still bearish. I can't see this being more bullish than bearish. Absolutely not. Okay. Unless we actually do break out again with more volume before we actually further move to the upside. But for now, I don't see that. But you can see it already. We're pretty much there. And even if we would shoot up here, we would still have the hourly candle where a lot of those buyers stepped in at the top. We're facing a lot of resistance as well here. So, yeah. I'm leaning more to that sell-off still. At least get back down here. Below the very high. Yeah, somewhere around the 80s. Somewhere around the 80s. KC Star, I remember your late night session 4 years ago. I would stay awake to do your trades. Wow, 4 years ago. Can't believe that. I mean, I appreciate the trust, man. Thank you. It has been a wild journey. It has been a wild ride. Yeah, okay. But for now, guys, I think we're pretty much flat. Okay. I think that we're just formulating a range right now. Look here on a 1 minute as well. Look here on the MetaTrader 5 platform. Same thing, right? Pretty much flat market. So at this current moment, I would say we're just too neutral right now to make any decision here. After that short we take. I mean, if you're still in that short and you're not close, you're a little bit in profit, but not much, right? We're pretty much flat at that area here. I think a big lesson right now, and I've seen this now for the last couple of days, right? Most of the volume that comes into the market seems to be coming in before the Asian session opens up. Okay, because the Asian session opens up at 9. All right, if you look here, Asian session, usually Tokyo starts at 9, right? The most volume that I've seen coming in starts at 8, you know? So I think the earlier we start the streams, the better it's gonna be to kind of understand where we are. But sometimes it's just too early to see what the market actually will do. Because you need to have a little bit of candle structures, a little bit of candle development for the market to see, okay, this is how the daily candle will develop, right? But overall, I think the stream has to start a bit earlier according to the market right now. Sometimes it doesn't have to start earlier. Sometimes it starts exactly around this time, like 8:30. But I think in this case right now, we can move it down a bit. Move it earlier. Yeah. Why are you not looking for longs, only for shorts? Because we're below the point of control. Right, we're below the point of control right now at the moment. You know, we're inside the value area right now. This is the very high, this is the very low. We are kind of holding and struggling around the point of control. If we're staying below, as long as we're staying below it, I mean, yeah, sellers are trying to push price further. There's a lot of pressure. Okay, so we're just trying to avoid longs at the moment. And it's not only about, right, lower low, higher high, higher low, right, higher high. It's not always about that. Sometimes the market gives us reverse signals, right? Reversal signals right now. So, yeah, anyways. How much has this helped you? Tremendously, bro. The volume profile changed my life. Yes, it changed my life. I used it 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Yeah, it absolutely changed my life. Absolutely changed my life. Okay. Yeah, not just the volume profile, of course. The whole system that I created now, like, helped me so much with understanding everything much better. But the volume profile was the start of that. The volume profile was the start of my journey. Okay, looking behind the candles, not just at the candles itself. Because before I used the volume profile, I was obsessed with candles. The only thing I would be looking for was candle structure. Every candle that was created, every breakout, every candle. Now, we barely look at the candles. We more look at how is the volume distributed of the current day and the previous day. Okay, that's already a really, really good foundation. How is the volume distributed of yesterday and the previous day? So if you look at yesterday, most of the volume was traded there. We're trading above it, right? So that's why when we were looking at low volume node right there, we were looking to kind of long, right, and take it out towards the breakout, because we're trending up so aggressively. We're looking for the pullback. And then we're looking at today's profile too. And the combination of those is always a very, very good, can help so much, okay? And the beautiful thing about the daily profile is it gets smarter and smarter, right? So if you trade Asia, you can kind of understand the development, okay, which is very good at the breakout, the initial breakout to the upside. Actually should have given you an understanding here already that the moment you broke above here, you broke outside of the value area early in the morning, right? And that's why longs were so optimal here, right? Because this is actually the best way to trade Asia, right? If you wake up early or you are late and you wait for the Asian session to develop, okay? And pretty much, let's say this is the open right here. The only thing that you can do here at the beginning of each session is you let the price develop, okay, for at least an hour or 2 hours. You mark out the volume profile from the open till price now, okay? You wait for the profile to develop, all right? You go from there and you let price develop. Now, in this case, it taps into a zone. So we already know and are super aware, like, of what could happen here if we could hold support here. That's already a major sign, by the way, from yesterday. But then from today, right, we could kind of see that every time when we move the volume profile over, you could see that price was still hovering around and the price broke above the point of control. You see that? And we keep moving over the volume profile. And at some point in time, we have what we call the value area high, right? So we keep moving it over, and then the value area high is there, and the value area low is there. You see that? So now we have the value area, sitting right there. And this is after 2 hours of the market open right there, okay? And then what happened? Price closed above it, okay? That is a long signal, all right? That is the long signal right there. And then you could say, okay, we closed above the value area after 2 hours. These are the highs. These highs are not taken out yet, right? We're still sitting right there. So these are potentially the highs that we want to target, right? So that is the reason why I entered at $75, okay? And closed at 97, which is pretty much at the top right there, right? So that's why you have like the 75, you have like the breakout, and then price just broke and continued to go higher and higher, okay? Then what happened? After that, we were like, okay, now we closed the trade at the top, or we closed the trade when price broke out, right? And we took out those highs. So this was already a buy, all right? And then price broke out the highs. We're like, okay, we're still gonna look at buys because the fact that at this moment in time, right, we're still seeing that the most volume was traded at the bottom. The value area just moved up, that's it, right? So that means that in the value area, if this just moves up, we could just look for something like that, right? And we look for a potential continuation long. But then what happened was we kept following up with the volume profile, and we moved from the bottom straight to the top. You see that? So now the point of control moved higher, and it moved to the top, and it's no longer where it was at the bottom. And then you look at the order flow and you realize, oh shit, a lot of buyers are stepping in here, but they're failing to push price higher, and the candle closes bearish. So now you have that combination of the hourly with the understanding of the volume, knowing that the volume profile has shifted, okay? And we're now already inside of the value area with most of the volume being traded at the top, okay? So when price then closes below it, right there, it should give you the insight that we are no longer in that buying market, because even if you would look for buys, you would probably find resistance immediately, and it will be very hard. Then you look at the higher time frame, like, okay, why are we rejecting there? Why are buyers getting trapped there? Oh, maybe it is because we are still at higher time frame resistance, okay? And you find all these other reasons for it, step by step, to see why am I no longer long bias, or why do I believe that longs are no longer the best option for now, okay? And that was pretty much the moment where we saw that price broke down, came down further, right? And now we're kind of formulating some sort of really trappy, you know, with bad price action, like really low volume kind of range. But the bias was definitely clearly more bearish after that. And at this very moment, if you keep moving the volume profile to the current price, we're still trading below the point of control right there, right? So I hope that makes sense. The point of control has been moving down with price, but has been constantly still above it instead of below it, okay? And as long as that's the case, we're still very cautious with buying. Does that make sense, my friends? Let me know if this helps you a little bit right there, okay? But this is just a simple trick to just understand and follow up with how to utilize the volume profile, okay, throughout the day, throughout the development of the day. And the beautiful thing is, okay, that if at some point in time price develops, and let's say the London session opens up, so let's take away, for example, let's take this, okay, and we eventually break out or break down, right? At some point in time, we break below the volume profile, and then we work our way towards the London Open, okay? This is at 3, the London Open. Now, we know in the London Open, okay, which is right here, let's mark out the London Open right there, okay? Which is right there. This is the London Open, okay? We mark out the volume profile from the open until the London Open, okay? And where's the value area? At this current moment, right? and we open it from the market open until the London open, so till 3 p.m. or 3 a.m. EST, okay? We mark out the value area high, the value area low, and where's the point of control? The point of control is sitting above, okay? So we know sellers are in control for the day. We're trading below the point of control. The value area high, the value area low is there. So if we are breaking down and we are in higher time frame resistance here, okay, we already knew this from the higher time frame. The only thing that we wait for a re-entry is for price to break back inside of the value area, okay, to look for the continuation. That's it. Boom. And price sells off for the rest of the day, right? And that is kind of the way we look at the market right there. We look at to understand how price develops and how price moves with the value area and how you can use that to get into the right setups right there at the right moment in time, right? So that is going to help tremendously. The Asia session is the best session to develop, to set that foundation for you for the rest of the day, okay? So I hope that makes sense. Yeah. Why don't we enter shorts since we're already below the POC, missing confirmation of 4 hour? We already entered shorts. Okay, the only reason why we're not into shorts right now is just because of the current price action. Okay, the current price action is very flat. The range is very flat right now. You can see there is not much volume happening in the market. Okay, but yeah, I would say definitely more short buys for now. And even if we would come up higher, the only problem that you're gonna face is you still have a lot of trap buyers at the top of this 1 hour candle right there, okay? A lot of trap buyers. But even if you would come up higher, which is possible, we'll still face a lot of resistance at the top here. Specifically on the hourly candle, okay? Specifically on the hourly candle right around there. So, yeah, in my perspective right now, even if you would come up higher, I would be looking at short still. But today might be a little bit of a balanced session, okay? Balanced day, because the fact that we are unable to follow through here. Yeah. So if you want to learn about the volume profile more, then I highly recommend to read my book, right? I think that's just the best way to understand how the development takes place, okay? And how you can utilize that. And most importantly, okay, how you can make sure that you will find the best buys, okay? And how important it is to pay attention to this so you never catch yourself taking trades on the wrong side too early or too late in a market, okay? And actually, that is a mistake that I made Friday, okay? That's a mistake that I made Friday. Instead of closing the trade immediately, I waited a little bit longer and price kept pushing higher and higher. So that was actually a big mistake because it was very obvious that the moment we broke above the value area, shorts were out of the picture, okay? So it's also a mistake that I made on a Friday, which we already, luckily, looking at the market right now, already recovered from today. So I'm very happy about that. Yes. The book doesn't download. I heard this a lot. Unfortunately, I heard this a lot. I have no idea why. Let me try to see if I can fix it. But if you guys can't get the book, then let me know. Maybe some of you guys do receive it, but it will take some time. It can take up to like 30 minutes. Okay. But if you don't get it, then please let me know. And I'll figure out a way why your guys are not receiving the book. Okay. Why you're not receiving it at this current moment in time. Okay. Mr. Benz is hard because we often get married to our bias. You know, even me, sometimes it happens. It happens to the best of us. But for me now, at this stage in my journey, it happens rarely, okay? Not perfect, but it happens still now and then, occasionally, where price, You get just too committed to your direction, your bias, etc. While this should have already tell you very easily and very clearly that you should be cautious right now with longing, right? Absolutely, absolutely. Luckily, the gold hybrid trading system does its thing. And I'm very proud to have an amazing group of people right now in our elite. We are still closed. We are already so close. We're already closed for, I don't know, 6 weeks almost. Long time already. But, you know, the guys are doing the absolute best. They're absolutely doing very well. I'm very happy, very proud of them. And I want to give a big shout out to the guys in the chat that are watching, that are in the group right now at the moment. Yeah. Right now, we're also in the trading floor on a regular basis, and that's amazing for the New York session. And today, for the guys in the group, today is a New York session, by the way, at 8 a.m. EST, okay? If you're watching and you are in the elite, 8 a.m. EST is the next session, and that is the New York session in Discord, okay? Oh, that makes sense. Looking forward to see you there, all right? Okay, for now, let's do one more rollover to just see where we are and what the situation is, okay? Like I said before, we're very cautious with longing. At the moment, we were looking at longs until the whole thing shifted. And I'm happy we did not take longs because the first level was at 96. That means we would have a lot of drawdown. We will be stuck in the trade. So we did the right thing and we shifted our bias from longs to shorts. Okay, we did take a short at 95. We are now at 88. So actually, we would have been in some more profit right now at the moment. But we have been hovering around our entry, I would say, for the past hour and like, what, 30 minutes. We would have been stuck in our position right there, around about hovering around our entry. I don't think the price action is good enough right now for us to take trades at this current moment, right? Especially when it's like that. Let's create some cleaner price action and come back right now. But anyways, what needs to happen right now is the following, okay? It's going to be very interesting to watch what will happen with this moment by the fact that we have the value area low sitting here and the value area high sitting there, okay? So what we're trying to understand now is if this is true to the top, okay? This is true to the top, then something like this needs to happen. And that is, we'll probably try to push back into that demand zone. But most importantly, what needs to happen for really aggressive shorts, in my opinion, is price needs to leave the fair value. It preferably needs to break structure, okay? So break below our initial zone. Look for the pullback. And then I think we could actually seriously target the lows again. I'm really serious about that. I actually think if you would break structure again right now at the moment, I just think there is a big chance that price will pull back inside of the value area. We're getting rejected on the higher time frame. And I think that the previous daily lows are one of those targets that we are going to met again. And people say, yeah, but we're super bullish. And I get it. We were super bullish after Friday. But keep in mind that the dollar hasn't flinched at all. Look at the dollar. The dollar is holding up. We're at higher time frame support right now. The dollar is also at the bottom of a range. Okay? We're literally at the bottom of that range right now at the moment. We are reacting here. We are at higher time frame demand. So we are at higher time frame support as well on the dollar. Right? And on the 4 hour, we're kind of respecting every zone here. So if the dollar decides to shoot up out of nowhere right now, today, which could happen, right? I'm not saying it will not happen. And the dollar does something like this, okay? What do you think will happen to gold? Let's be honest, right? Would gold continue to drive higher? I doubt it, okay? I doubt it, knowing that gold's in that resistance, the volume is shifting, and everything that we're currently seeing on the day, it's kind of rolling over a little bit, right? So that's why I would be not excluding shorts. I would not say that shorts are out of the window after Friday, that you think, oh, Friday's move was so strong, where we are no longer able to push up again or push down again. I think it is totally still possible, okay? All right. Now, what could happen is that we just stay within the fair value, and then we're just going to stay inside of this area okay, for a while, and then we don't break down, then we don't break out with a lot of volume, okay, we don't break structure, and we just stay in the value area, and then we're going to try to push up higher, and then at the top of that high, we're just going to get or find resistance from those trap buyers all the way at the top, right there, okay? So as long as we're sitting in the fair value, it could easily be we'll try to break up back higher again, okay? You can say that, but dollar was weak and gold was weak too. True. Sometimes that happens, but that's why you have multiple confirmations and confirms. Right? What Eurjpy is trying to do is you're trying to build a storyline. We're building a story. Okay, we're putting all these different things together, and along the way, we're trying to glue everything together into a bias, into a direction, short term, medium term, and long term. Okay, short term, medium term, and long term. All right, guys, I hope this helps. Okay, I think I'm gonna stay out for the rest of the Asian session. I'm probably gonna take a break during the London session, and then I'm gonna trade with the elite group in the New York session. And then for you guys, I'm gonna be back tomorrow again earlier. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be there earlier. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna come back earlier. Okay, I'm gonna come back. I think an hour earlier or something like that. It has to be. I don't think we have any other choice. I think 7:30, okay, p.m. EST. And the main reason why is just because of the fact that the volume is pretty significant around that time before the actual session opens up, okay? And I think we have to do that in case you want to get the best moves, or you want to get ready for the best moves. Instead of trying to wait for the open, because usually what we have found was that the best move already happened. You can see that's here right well, right? The best move pretty much kind of already happened when we broke out of the fair value of that session right there. We broke below it with a lot of volume, right? So I'm gonna set my alert a little bit earlier. I'm gonna be there at 7:30 p.m. EST instead of 8:30 p.m. EST, okay? Hope that makes sense, guys. Yeah, so 1 hour before we actually usually come along here, okay? Let me know if you guys are interested in that, if that's fine for you. For me, I think it's important because also that long that I've taken was around that time as well, and I don't want to do that again tomorrow, okay? By myself, looking at the market this way right here, okay? Yeah. I think that's the best way to do it, okay? I think that's the best way. Last thing, like I said before, yes, we could come up higher, but be aware, please, of these trap buyers sitting at the top right now on the 1 hour, okay? We will have a lot of resistance there. If we are really all about longs, let price break out of fair value, right? Break out of that fair value high, right? Try to either look for a long here if you're really committed and target the low volume node, but you're gonna find a lot of resistance here, okay? If you do break out, sky's the limit, really, for gold. Sky's the limit. We could go straight to that supply zone. But I would say that this is more of a balanced session, a neutral rating right now at the moment. Wait for price to break, either direction. That's what I'm going to do. So that's why I'm not going to do anything during London. I'm just going to wait for the New York session to open up because I think that New York will give me exactly that indication of what we're looking for the rest of the sessions, etc. Okay? All that makes sense. All right, guys. I'm going to take it easy for today until that. And I'm going to let my throat heal. I had a terrible night, absolutely horrendous night. So I'm going to try to get better for you guys. Okay? Still wanted to be here. Making sure that you guys are updated and see what we can get and update you, of course, on Friday. And then everything that happened as well. So we are fully synchronized again together. Agreed? Okay. Much love, my friends. Looking forward to see you tomorrow. Thank you for coming along. Hope you learned something. And yeah, for the elite, I see you in the New York session. Yeah. Tomorrow, Asia session, 1 hour earlier. Looking forward to seeing you guys. Love, fam.